Hi, I will now show you how to complete an interactive project using Story2Go. In this demo project, we will be creating a cookbook which starts with an interactive table of contents followed by scrollable pages. I will be telling you the details of how to operate the software and how to create a complete project from scratch. First of all, I'm starting Story2Go 3.0. As we're starting from scratch, I am choosing a landscape project. I am naming it Story2Go Tutorial. What you can see here is the user interface. Let me quickly show you which feature does what. Here in the upper left corner, you may add new pictures, animations, pages, text boxes, or import complete layered Photoshop or InDesign XML files. In the lower left corner, you can find the object's thumbnail, which lists the various layers. Within this, you can change the order of visibility. The upper part of the list will always show the one most forward in the picture, and the bottom one, for example the background, will go the most backwards. You can change the order with this arrow. Besides this, you may duplicate and delete various layers from here. The next thumbnail is the effects thumbnail, under which you will find 19 combinable effects. We will come back to the use of these a little later. Under the pages thumbnail, you can quickly navigate between pages, you can rearrange them, add new ones, duplicate them, delete them. You can also set the language setting here. Short note, the lines on the user interface mark the borders of the 4.3 and the 16.9 slides. Now let's begin. First, we are assembling the project with the additions of pictures and texts. As you can see, I have already prepared on my computer the various PNGs and I have collected all the texts in a text file to save time. First, I'm adding the background of the first page. The background isn't large enough, so by clicking on the properties thumbnail, I am setting the scale to a 16.9 size. Within the properties, you can find the general information about a given layer. The XY coordinates are setting the position, the scale shows the level of blowing up and diminishing, the opacity, which has 100% of 255, sets the visibility. The rotation stands for the turnability, the draggable X and Y makes the layers within the project movable, and the X and Y anchor shows you the center of the added effects. These features are all settable with arrows, or you can navigate them by pressing the mouse right and left. Then it's time to set the text box by selecting the given text box. If you double click it, the text becomes editable. If I click here, the editing menu of the text box appears. This is where I can set the font type from the list, choose the color from the palette, and set the font size as well. I'm adding a new page. Pages, add page, and here it is. I could also click on add a new page in the upper left corner. I'm adding and scaling a background. or I could also copy the background from the previous page. I am also adding images which will function as a table of content later on. Now that I'm done, I am making a scrollable page as a first recipe. I'm adding a new page, clicking on the edit button in the upper lane, and I can make it scrollable under page settings. Besides this, you can also set it one by one to have the navigation arrows appear, right and left arrow to navigate between the pages. Later on, we are going to use these switchboards on the front page and the table as the table of contents. Now that I have made the page scrollable, I will plug the necessary pictures here too, one below the other, in the order of scrolling. I'm adding images and formatting the texts one by one. As you can see, in the case of a long multiple line text, the box needs to be reformatted to be more easily handled. So after having selected the text, I will set the box with the width and height buttons under the properties thumbnail to reset the box. As it is visible at the title, which is shrimp cocktail with avocado, it would direct the text in 2 lines, but this is avoidable by widening the text box. Oops, the letter C has been left out. I'm going to put this in now. At the ingredients and instructions text box, I would like to repeat the same formatting, so I'm duplicating the ingredients text box and I am rewriting the text in it. The same happens with the regular text. I'm duplicating I give the size of the text box and then I'm changing the ingredients to the text. I'm adding an arrow that points to the left and a back to menu title at the bottom of the page, which will take me back to the table of contents. I am duplicating the text, so I will be carrying it through with the characteristics of the ingredients text box. And I'm simply changing its color to white, and it's done. I'm putting an arrow pointing downwards on the top of the page, which will signal the scrollability. Let's have a look at the preview mode if the layout looks good. Looks great. Good. You can scroll. The project will be scrollable until it has layers. You can also change the page transitions as visible in the preview mode. The page transitions are variable. The chosen page transition is valid for the entire project. And now it's time for the effects. The first is not a scrollable page, so under the edit thumbnail, by clicking on page settings, we can set the navigational arrows to disappear, so we can only go to the next page with the middle button, which is the image that holds the title. In the preview here, you can tell that the navigational arrows have disappeared. What I would like with the effects is to make the background slightly moving while the titles are appearing, and if you tap on the cookbook edition, it would navigate you on the given page. Now let's start with the jumping up of the title and the jumping on to the next page. I am finding a title a little small, so I'm scaling it up to 1.10. For the sake of the design, I'm pulling its opacity down to 210. And I'm leaving both the anchor points at 0.50. First, I'm choosing the jump to effect, which will navigate me to the given page. In our case, this is the first page, which will then be the table of contents. Please note that the numbering of the pages starts at 0. I'm setting it to take me on the first page. Then I'm clicking on the setting of the jump sequence and choosing Object Tabbed as the trigger. Thus, if I click on the title, it will take me on the next page. The base setting is always tabbed as the trigger. The sequences are playing a part. Every layer joined to a sequence is starting at the same time and will start playing in the adding order of the effects. I would like the title box to jump out of nowhere, slowly, aesthetically, then go back to its original size. I'm doing this with the addition of 3 effects. First, I'm adding a scale from effect. Let's make its length 1 second. Because the title box has to appear from nowhere, let's set the start scale to 0.00. Easing is not needed. I'm adding a scale to effect, which will make the box slightly bigger compared to the 100% size settings. At the duration, 0.50 will be enough, while at the scale we're giving 1.20. With this, I have enlarged the box. After this, I would like it to come back to a 100% in size. I am adding a scale to effect to this, so the duration will be shorter, let's say 0.30, and the scale 1.10, like in the beginning. We have set the box size under the properties. I'm adding the start trigger here too. I need a page turn because I would like it to play automatically. Repeat count, play once, play shots, infinite. Meanwhile, I can always check the so far added effects by clicking on the preview button. Look. Let me show you what happens when I add some easing to the effects. First, let's try the elastic in and out, which will make the motions more flexible. Let's take a look at this in preview mode. A simple ease in and out will slightly diminish the arc in which our content appears. Let's take a look at this in preview mode. But we do not need this now, so I will take it off. Great. We are done with placing the title. At our subtitle, I would like to reproduce the same thing, so I will simply copy the sequence and add it to the layer of the subtitle. I'm checking it out in the preview mode, if it moves the right way. Great! There's only one background left. Here I would like to see a simple dynamic motion. I will set the anchor point so that the image doesn't leave the frame and add the scale of 2 effect. So I am replacing the X anchor to 0.05, Y can stay at 0.50. Scale to no easing, the length be at 4.0 and the scale 1.5. You should pay attention to the scale of every given layer, which can be checked amongst the properties. Here at the start I have enlarged the image, so I will have to set the scale above 1.37 or else the image will be diminishing instead of getting bigger. An automatic effect is needed for this, so I will set the trigger to page opened. I will check in the previews if everything is working like it should. It does. Great. Let me show you what happens if I'm changing the repeat count and the play shots. I will first set the repeat count from play once to endless. So if I tap on the object, I will start pulsating, it will start pulsating forever. If I reset the repeat count to endless, it will be looping forever. And now I'm having a look at the preview mode. If I set the repeat count to 1 time playing and the play shots to 2, then once I've started it, I will be able to double click the object and no more. So it will be playing the effect after 2 touches but not after 1. And now I'm having a look at the preview mode. I'm deleting these effects now because they aren't needed. I just wanted to show you how they work. Let's move on to the next page. My objective here is to be able to tap on an image, which in turn will take me to a given recipe. But first let's have the image of the recipe stretch a little. I'm choosing for this the prepared image that I'm adding a scale to effect. I don't want to mess around with the easing, so I'm leaving it on no easing for now. The length at 1.00 and the scale at 1.20. Then I'm adding the jump to effect to navigate on the given page after tapping on the given layer. The page number is 2. I would like to work upon clicking or tapping, so at the sequence settings I'm making the trigger object tapped because it has to play the effects without repetition. I'm setting the sequence to play once and infinite. This is only a demo project and I didn't put together any other recipes, so I will not do the same at the other layer boxes. In the background you can see the same time of motion as on the first page, so I am now getting back to it, copying the effect sequence and adding it to the background as well. And now let's take a look at this in preview mode. Yes, this is exactly what I wanted. Let's move on to the scrollable recipe page. I would like the word salad and the little circular box behind to be placed on the page slightly diminished and in the same direction. Now for this I'm choosing the text and I'm adding a scale from effect to make it smaller. The 2 seconds will be enough for it to find its place, so the duration will be 2.00 and the scored scale 4.00. The sequence settings will be page opened, play once, infinite. I would also like to make the layer turn, while it will find its place diminished, so I'm adding a rotate by effect to the next sequence to make it play at the same time. Because I would like a harmonic way of motion, let the duration be 2 seconds and the rotation minus 360.00. The trigger settings here too is page opened, play once, infinite. At the same time I would like to turn the box behind the subtitle in the same direction and find its place diminished as well. Because this is practically the same motion as what the text does, I'm copying it and adding to the box layers the previous scale from and rotate by effects. At the shrimp cocktail with avocado and the design lines behind it, I would like to make them appear later than the word salad, so I first of all will be choosing the design lines. I will add a delay effect to them, set its duration to 2.00 because this is how far the animation of the salad box is going. I will then add a move from effect, which will make the appearing moment be more interesting. I'm setting the ease in and out, which will make the arrival of the box slightly smoother. Let's make the duration 1.50. At the starting position, I will be taking care to make it arrive from outside the visible box. The Y coordinate is given, as you can see it in the Properties tab, it's 378. While the X coordinate I'm setting an impossible number, let's say 3750. The sequence will be automatic again, so within the settings I will set page opened, play once, and infinite. I would like the box to move together with the design lines, so I'm copying the complete sequence and adding it to the text box. I'm checking out if it works in the preview mode. Fantastic! Let's look at the arrow pointing downwards. In this case, my objective is to make it appear by growing after the arrival of salad and the title itself, and then to show by its perpetual moving that the page is scrollable and the continuation of the recipe can be seen at the bottom of the page. I'm adding a delay effect to it and setting its length to be 4.00. Then I'm giving it a scale from effect. Easing is not needed. Let's make the length little to make it happen fast, and let's say 0.20, and because I want it to appear from nowhere, let's set the start scale 0.00. This will be automatic too, so let's put the sequence setting on page opened, play once, and infinite. I'm checking this out too. It works brilliantly. On the second sequence, I'm giving the perpetual up and down movement. I will be achieving this with two move by effects. At the first, I'm making sure it moves upwards. Move by, no easing, duration 0.80, position of X stays, so it's 0.00, and the position of Y is 45.00. Then I'm adding another move by effect with the same settings, only the layer will be moving downwards, so the Y can be set at minus 45.00 instead of 45. The trigger will be page opened, but this is a continuous motion, so instead of the play once repeat count, I will use an infinite setting. And now I'm having a look at the preview mode. Great, let's move on. If the downward arrow isn't enough, I am adding a minimal page arrangement to make it obvious that this recipe is scrollable. So I will be bringing the second background slightly upwards when the downward pointing arrow will start moving up and down. For this, I'm first using a delay effect set to 4.00. Then I am adding a move by effect with which I will be pulling up the entire background layer. No easing, the duration 1.00, the position X00, Y 90.00. Now, as it is an automated effect, I'm using the same page opened, play once, infinite settings. I'm copying the same sequence to the background underneath the layer 2. As usual, I'm checking it out in the preview mode. I imagine this exactly this way, only the arrow at the bottom is hanging a little out. Now all I need to do is back to the menu text. It was slightly outspaced after having pulled up the background, so I will move up its starting position. Let's see if it works in preview mode. Yes, now it's perfect. This button here is to bring back the user to the table of contents. We're adding an easy jump to button which will take us to the first page. I'm setting the sequence to react to object tapped, play once, infinite. We copy this and add it to the left pointing arrow icon. Let's see if it works as a preview. It does. Now let's have one last look over the complete project. Thank you for your attention. For further tutorial videos, please visit the YouTube channel of Story2Go, and for other useful information, take a look at story2go.com. To stay up to speed, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you.